In May, Reform swept the board in England's local elections. Winning almost 700 seats and taking control of 12 councils and 2 mayoral authorities.
God, you won't want to put me in charge. That was a joke, by the way.
For the last 4 months, I've been following its new crop of leaders as they exercise their authority.
You've taken it down
It
already.
will be coming down today.
And try to deliver change in local government. Less than 2 months after taking control of Warwickshire County Council, the Reform leader stood down for health reasons. The man who replaced him was George Finch.
How many council meetings have you had so far then?
Oh, full council meetings we've had.
Who still lives with his parents and can't yet drive. At 19, he is the youngest council leader in the UK.
Have they been giving you stick about your age, or have they been all right with you?
Well, it's a protected characteristic, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, I'll take it back to those.
Nigel Farage, your party leader, in the past has criticised what he calls career politicians without any real life experience. Isn't that exactly what you are?
Not at all. And it's simple. I've experienced a lot in my life. Yeah, it's shorter than a lot of other people. Seeing how the health services have not kept their promises to the people, seeing misdiagnosis of my sister, seeing it all, send provision. It's gone.
You've got to make around £80 million worth of cuts before the end of the decade. Where are those cuts going to fall?
We have to change the way we do things. That doesn't mean cutting stuff. It means reforming what we do. I think homeschool transport, we need to look into it. We need to look through it with a fine-tooth comb.
But it does mean spending less money on lots of areas, doesn't it?
Well, look, we'll cut on net zero. Union reps, £200,000 a year. Why are we paying for that?
OK, but it's not going to save 80 million.
No, but it's working towards it. We might not be able to. We'll try our very best to cut as much as we can.
There have been anti-immigration protests in Warwickshire this summer, and Reform have said councils they control will try and close hotels housing asylum seekers.
Where should they go now?
I'll be honest with you, I think we have to look at an alternative way that are not in our communities, like next door over the road. There has to be some other provision for these people
like
until
what?
reform.
What sort of thing?
Again, Warwickshire County Council cannot solve this problem.
But if you're saying
Ask
we don't
Keir
want them in these
Starmer.
hotels, where do you think they should be going?
Ask Keir Starmer.
Well, we do ask him all the time, but
No, what's
you're
he
saying they shouldn't be in these hotels in
I
your
don't-
county.
I don't-
Where do you think they should be?
I don't think that we should be housing them in hotels. I don't think we should be housing them in HMOs, which could be the over the road from nurseries.
So where?
What? I know what you're trying to lead us down to. And
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. There isn't.
What I see, the plans we could put in place is to ensure that they're in some sort of provision where we can check on them and we can see where they're going. Because there's hotels, I've seen them firsthand. They leave, go to the shop. They shouldn't be.
George Finch might be a political trailblazer for younger generations, but when it comes to lowering the voting age, he is firmly opposed.
Do you think people at 16 should have the vote?
No. I think 18 has been the age that it has been for years. I just don't think we need to change it. Don't change the recipe if it works.
You think they just don't know enough at 16?
I'm not saying that, because you get some really intellectual 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. You do. I just think that it's the way it's been.
George Finch's appointment as leader made national headlines. But what do opposition councillors make of his start?
Well, in some ways, there hasn't really been very much change. We were expecting to see lots and lots of policies coming forward, and so far we've had virtually nothing. You know, I have no problem at all with his age. I'm a huge supporter of, and I have relatively young children myself. I'm a huge supporter of young people being involved in things, but it's actually what you do with that, and I think it's his lack of experience and lack of knowledge.
In Kent, Reform wiped out the Conservatives after 30 years in power. But when the council's new leader held her first full meeting in May, one of her early actions was to take down the council's Pride and Ukraine flags.
Well, it's currently on display in the council chamber alongside the union flag. Why is that a problem?
Have you checked recently, since we came out of the chamber?
You've taken it down already?
It will be coming down today.
But why is it a problem having both flags up in the chamber?
Because this chamber is here to represent the people of Kent. What's happening in Ukraine is absolutely appalling. Nobody is saying otherwise. But if we are to focus ourselves and become a serious county council once more, we need to have a defined focus. And having the Ukrainian flag in the chamber is a distraction. We are not here for the people of Kyiv. We're here for the people of Kent.
But you'll know the message that it sends out, that your opponents will say you're sympathetic to Putin, you don't believe in supporting the Ukrainian people. Why allow them that? Why not just keep the Ukrainian flag up?
That would be taking the easy route, wouldn't it? And not standing for what we believe in. And I think people voted for us because they want things to be different.
But they didn't vote for you to take down the Ukrainian flag, did they?
They want politicians who have conviction about what they believe in. And they want the politicians to behave in a way that supports that conviction, not to give in to the first bit of online bullying or pressure group that comes along. That is what people voted for. That is what me and my councillors are going to do.
One of Reform's high-profile winners in May was Olympic gold medal boxer Luke Campbell. He's now the mayor of Hull and East Yorkshire, which has become a hub for the renewable energy sector. Reform has promised to scrap net zero subsidies if it got into government. So what would that mean for jobs in Luke Campbell's region?
Well, if any government got in the next election, different governments, they'll all have the different policies and the different ways of doing things.
If it came to it, would you stand up for this region and say, Nigel Farage, Prime Minister, we still need that net zero funding because we need these jobs in this region?
There's many ways to go about it. They're not just going to stop hundreds of thousands of jobs and then leave everybody out of work. Surely not.
So you think they will keep some of that funding for the wind energy
I don't know
sector?
what they'll do, what they'll think, but my role as mayor for this region, for Hull and East Yorkshire, is to represent and stand for the people. I'll put this region first, above any party politics.
Across the Humber River in Lincolnshire, a former Tory MP has quit the party to become Reform mayor. The renewables industry is a big employer in her county too.
We need more funding because it's so rural.
But Andrea Jenkins wants to end subsidies and start fracking.
The subsidies come from a Labour government. It came from a Conservative government before that.
And they wouldn't come from a Reform government?
Well, no. I mean, we've already said our policy is actually to... We've got to explore. I mean, we've got to explore this fracking. We've got to explore new emerging industries.
Andrea Jenkins briefly served as a minister in Boris Johnson's government. So would she return to Parliament if Nigel Farage asked?
I don't know, to be honest, because, look, I'm a single mum. Do you know it's nice to be in one place? And that's the truth.
Even if he offered you the job as Chancellor or something like that?
God, you won't want to put me in charge. That's a joke, by the way. But look, I love the role of mayor, and I like being able to see my little one every night, and that's wonderful as a mum.
Nigel Farage says Reform councils have rolled back net zero policies and cut spending, but says it's still too soon to assess their success.
I did say to you back on May the 2nd, I think it was, at 6 months we should take a sort of a marker of where we are, and at a year you can judge us. So it's very, very early days.
But in a year's time, in 4 years' time, how will they notice the difference?
Well, I hope they're going to feel that their priorities are better reflected by the actions of their county councils, unitaries, mayors, in terms of priorities, and that their money is being looked after better.
Vote Reform, get Reform!
Reform UK's leaders are trying to leave their mark on local government. How the party runs its councils could determine whether voters trust it to run the country. Harry Horton, ITV News.